How do we know what hair loss exactly is?
A normal person should get at least minimum 6 to 7 hours continuous undisturbed night sleep.
If the hair was beyond 200, 300, it is an alert sign where your hair is telling that your body is not doing well.
Hello. Welcome to Healthy Scalp, Stunning Strands. My name is Diana Hashim and I am your host. And on this show, we get to talk about some of the concerns millions of people around the world experience, and that is hair loss. Now, whether you realize that you have a bit more hair down the shower drain, or even you see that you have a bit of a receding hairline, either ways, we have to know that there are so many factors to it. It could be that we're stressed out, whether we have busy schedules, or even what we eat actually does play a role. But if that's going to scare you, don't worry about a thing, because we are in great hands today and there is always hope. So today we are going to discuss all of the concerns and some of the things you should know about hair loss and a healthy scalp. And the best part is I've got two fabulous doctors with me today. Hello, we've got Dr. Rasool and Dr. Kelvin. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm very excited to learn so much more about this. But to start off with, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, Dr. Rasool?
I'm Dr. Rasool, and I am the founder and medical director for Radiant Clinique. And I have a diploma in medical trachology, and I see lots of hair cases and do treat them almost every day. And I enjoyed it.
Oh, that's really lovely. It's good to know that you have a doctor that loves what he does. Dr. Kelvin, what about you?
I'm Dr. Kelvin Tan. I'm the founder and medical director of Elegant Clinique, and I'm the regenerative hair restoration physician and hair transplant physician.
Fantastic. Okay, this is going to be really interesting for everyone, because we're going to get to the nitty-gritty of what hair loss is about. And speaking of which, how do we know what hair loss exactly is? Dr. Rasool, what is your definition of hair loss?
Before we go into what is hair loss, we all should know there is a hair cycle, which consists of three components, which is anagen, catagen, and telogen, right? Now, anagen is a growing phase, which takes about 85%. And the second one, catagen, which takes about 5%, which is a resting phase. And the third one is telogen, which takes about 10%, which is actually a shedding phase. So at any time, all three stages plays a role, right? Now, when it comes to normal hair loss, 50 to 100 hair loss is normal. But
50 to 100
is normal.
Okay.
Right? But you don't have to go and count every day. What is abnormal is when you realize something is wrong.
Right.
So, for example, scenarios like you're getting up in the morning, you see on your pillow that hair is there.
Okay.
Right? When you go and take shower, you put shampoo, and suddenly you see clumps of hair in your hand. And the third one, while you comb your hair, you see lots and lots of hair coming up.
Okay.
And if this condition persists about a month or 2 months or 3 months, remember your body says something and you have an issue.
Do you know what? It's fantastic how our bodies work, and turns out it actually could work with your scalp. If there's something up with you, like what Dr. Rasool said, yes, take note of your hair. I will be counting my hairs later. It might take a while, but yes. But either way, it's Dr. Kelvin, on a day-to-day basis in your clinic, what do you normally see that happens when it comes to like the trends of hair loss, for example?
To restart, our most common male pattern hair loss and female pattern hair loss, which are also known as androgenetic alopecia. This is the commonest cases that we're seeing in my day-to-day clinical practices. But since 2024, slowly there are more and more stress-related hair losses for female, such as telogen effluvium and also alopecia areata. And recently, since 3 years ago, there are more and more even pediatric hair losses as well. And of course, we have hormonal imbalance such as PCOS and postpartum hair loss and thyroid as well.
It's so interesting that you say all of that. I think a lot of the times people don't necessarily realize that this is something that could actually, be the cause of a lot of hair loss situations. What about you, Dr.
Okay, so I do agree with Kelvin. Lots of cases. But to add on, what else, right? So medical diseases like Dr. Kelvin mentioned, thyroid issues, uncontrolled, poorly controlled diabetic, anemia plays a role, right? And there's also another condition, trichotillomania, right? This is quite rare, but it exists, where patient pulls their own hair. When they're under stress, when they're doing work, they will just play around, and that can cause problems.
So it's basically a subconsciously, if you're twirling your hair, but actually you're kind of tugging it.
And also the certain medication can cause,
Right.
Certain medication can cause autoimmune disease. Dr. Kelvin has mentioned alopecia areata and such, and even vitamin deficiencies.
Yes.
All these are the common one. I totally agree with Dr. Kelvin, where I see lots of cases under stress
Yep.
since COVID.
And-
Since COVID, there are a lot of stress issue which is causing.
And this is also related to lifestyle, I would assume.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of lifestyle-wise, Dr. Rasool, what would you be, how do you think it actually plays a part in
Yeah, I would touch more into stress. Right now, stress. When I speak to my patient or consult my patient, I divide into two. One is mental stress. For example, marital issue, personal issues, financial issues. I've got a lot of assignment, got a project and all that stuff, which is causing a lot of mental stress, can cause that. And I also do stress a lot on sleep pattern, right? Now, in the world of social media, what time did you sleep yesterday?
I slept at a reasonable time. I believe it was 11:45 p.m., but I'm not going to lie, my phone was the last thing I looked
I
at.
think most of us spend lots and lots of time on the phone nowadays, right? Now, a normal person should get at least minimum 6 to 7 hours continuous undisturbed night sleep. If you don't get that, you are okay, I'm okay, but our body is not okay.
Yeah.
So they go into stress and they will show you a sign of hair loss.
Oh my goodness.
So that plays a very big role, which I see now.
Yes, absolutely. As a mother, that I have experienced this lack of sleep. Basically, it's not ever consistent because at the end of the day, my sleep is interrupted. And I believe in terms of consumption of food as well is the same, Dr. Kelvin. What are your thoughts on that one?
I totally agree with Dr. Rasool. I mean, I classify stress out into psychological and physical, but being which, irrespective whether you're suffering from psychological or physical form of stress, we prone to crave for heavy tasted food such as very spicy food, mala. That's what we favorite. And of course, we're craving for refined sugar, cakes, and then just the vicious cycle ongoing. Then of course, we are looking at hair dye.
Okay.
Hair dye. A lot of people are saying that no, I mean the barbers or the hairstylist tell you no, the hair dye is organic. There's no such thing because they need to have something called PPT or ammonia whipping. So it's very, very toxic to scalp and hair. Once it touches scalp, it will penetrate into hair.
Great.
Even no matter how many times you wash, the hair will fall.
All right. Well,
And I think perming.
Yes.
and pumping as well. Okay, if you're considering your next hairdo at the salon, have a think about it and make sure you got a healthy scalp so that nothing like that happens. But absolutely true when it comes to living lifestyle and even like the change of diet that can actually cause things like this. But as we talked about earlier on when Dr. Rasool said that, it's between 50 to 100 strands in a day. But Dr. Kelvin, can you share with us, like, when would be the alert sign that it is like, by hook or by crook, I have to see the doctor now? How do we know?
So first of all, as basic what Dr. Rasool say, normal hair was about 15 to 100. So if the hair was beyond 200, 300, it is an alert sign where your hair is telling that your body is not doing well. But for female, most likely there are the 3 alert signs that you have to be careful. Number one is, at the side area, irrespective when you tie up your hair or long hair, you feel that the cushion effect at the side is getting thinner and thinner. It is one of the alert signs that you need to see doctor quickly. Second thing is the ponytail. When you tie the ponytails and you realize the volume is getting narrow and smaller and smaller. The other thing is, for ladies, there's something called frontal temporal angle. It's getting thinner and thinner. That is the time that you should go and see a doctor. So what about Dr. Rasool for male?
Male pattern, Dr. Kelvin spoke about ponytail. So there's also another condition, traction alopecia. As you actually tie a ponytail, do not do it tightly. So that can also cause one of the causes for hair loss. Now, male pattern, normally my patient come and say, hey doc, already got M shape. Yeah, so you will see residing this M shape.
Okay.
And normally this is the area.
I see.
And it doesn't mean, although genetic plays the major role of hair loss for males and all this stuff, but we have to go detail in to consult and find out what exactly is causing it. All right? It doesn't mean just male. So every problem, there is a root of the problem, and to treat it, you should go to the root rather than just treating it.
And over here, I want to add on something as well. Sometimes if we talk about, usually I tell my patient if it's a localized hair fall or diffuse hair fall, localized in the sense that, sometimes I would talk about, say for men, we look at the hairline from the hairline receding. There's a localized, which is easier to treat comparing to certain ladies. They just say, even I'm sitting, static position where the hair is falling, but I have no idea from which area. That is one of the alert signs. That's called diffuse hair fall, in a sense, all over the head. That is one of the signs of telogen influence. In that case, you need to see a doctor. There's one of the alert signs, or irrespective of female or male.
Well, I am lucky because I have two doctors here who are going to be checking out my hair later on after this episode recording. But basically, I think now we can dive into how hair loss, knowing that some of the causes, knowing some of the cases and the reasonings behind it, that it actually really does have an emotional impact on a person. I'm going to share a personal experience for myself. I have I have a daughter who's nearly 2 years old, and postpartum, maybe about 3 months in, my hormones, I think after a while, your body just flushes everything out. And I started to notice a lot of hair loss. It came to the extent where, it was very panicky for me. I find it very difficult to go out of the house and whatnot. And I didn't really know if I was going to be able to bounce back at the end of the day. But I can only imagine the kind of patients or the kind of situations that you see on a day-to-day basis at your clinic. So, Dr. Kelvin, in your personal experience, have you encountered patients who have shared stories about how hair loss has affected their confidence?
Yes, I do. I have one 26-year-old lady. She's a college student. So she'd been studying a lot and then stressed about her final exam. So she started to experiencing very bad hair fall, whereas what I mentioned just now is diffuse. She had no idea from where. And at the same time, she started experiencing irregular menses. In a sense, her menses, maybe 3-4 months, she only experienced one type of menses. So she dragged all the way for after a year. So her dad took her to a gynecologist, and then she was diagnosed with PCOS. But since then, she did not receive any treatment because she's quite afraid of hormonal treatments. And then she dragged for another year. So her dad brought her to a skin specialist, and then she go through all the treatments. But there's no result at all. But despite of that, she started gaining weight. So she's kind of despair because she's very, very young. Mm-hmm. So when she came to see me, she was only 28 years old. So she just wanted to give a last shot because she was referred by one of her friends, which was my patient as well. So after I've done a thorough examination for her, which took about 1.5 months, and then I controlled all her problems and then do some treatment for her hair. So it take about 8 months to reverse her hair. So it's kind of gave her, the self-esteem and confidence.
I'm so happy to hear that. And that is such a key factor. I cannot even stress this. I think I say it all the time to whether it's my family or my friends. When it comes to seeing doctors, you have to find the best one who is really out there to look out for you as a patient. Ask as many questions as possible. Get diagnosed for the right kind of treatments, and it can change your life. And also listen to your doctor, obviously, right? But Dr. Rasool, what about you? Could you share with us some stories that you've experienced before?
I have a lot of cases too, but I think one interesting case was this 32-year-old female who comes with a history of putting on weight all of a sudden. Right? No ladies want to put on weight all of a sudden. All right? And she was feeling tired at the same time, and her menses was haywire. It was not regular. She was feeling lethargic, and the most important thing, she came is also for her hair loss. At the same time, she was having a lot of hair loss. Now, what did I do is just not treating her, but we have to investigate where and what is wrong. All right? So we did a blood test. We found out that her thyroid level was haywire. So it was hypothyroid, which is causing all these issues. So what I did was treat her thyroid. At the same time, then you treat the hair loss. So when you treat together, there's always a good result. So in conclusion, what I would say is when there is a problem, there's always a root. Find out the root, and definitely there's something we can do to fix the root.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Anything you want to add, Dr. Kelvin?
I totally agree with Dr. Rasool. To me, I always tell my patient hair fall or hair loss, it is a medical disease rather than a cosmetic procedure. So all I can say is whenever you have fall, listen to your body. It is a way that your body is telling you that you are not well. So if I having hair fall, I definitely would quickly go and see a professional doctor instead of try all the whole remedies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. It is so wonderful and so refreshing whenever you get to meet doctors who are really just in it to solve what is happening by investigating the right way. For example, taking the blood tests and even really checking out the fact that the different kinds of symptoms, being tired, lethargic, weight gain, etc., etc. These are the opportunities that us as very responsible patients and responsible consumers, we have to understand our bodies a lot more. But that being said, it's not Dr. Google or anything like that. You got to seek professional advice. And that's exactly why we have Dr. Rasool and Dr. Kelvin. But thank you so much for joining me today. It's been so enlightening that we've learned so much about having a healthy scalp. We learn the definition of hair loss. We understand some of the causes and even some of the things how it could actually affect our lives. So if you happen to be in this particular position, don't forget to seek out to your nearest doctor. But either ways, make sure you stick around because we'll be coming up with more episodes of this fabulous, fabulous show, Healthy Scalp, Stunning Strands, and where we're going to learn so much more about treatments for you to have a great scalp. Bye.
Bye.